After 16 games, Bournemouth are Europa League. We sit 6th in the table, just 2 points behind Manchester City. Is there a better time to be a Bournemouth fan? Whether you're watching or you're listening, welcome. This is The Second Look. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
And it's a good time to be a Bournemouth fan right now, Tom, right?
Not bad. Yeah, not bad, mate. Enjoying it. And we're all, as I've said this before and we'll go into it, but we're all kind of disappointed. A draw in, which means that's 4 unbeaten and having 29 shots, we've got to go and work quite at it. That's how good we are now, and that's how good it is to watch. And yeah, we're taking advantage of a few of the bigger boys, maybe stumbling a little bit, but yeah, it was another enjoyable night, I thought.
We all wanted more, but on 87 minutes, VAR had another idea, but fear not, because our Turkish Delight Enes Unal stepped up to notch a perler of a free kick. Tom,
Turkish.
People who are watching on YouTube can see this. You are wearing what, sir?
I'm not even sure what they're called, but it's a Turkish team that obviously it's red and black, so I quite like it. And I put it on because I felt like Unal needed a boost a couple of weeks ago. Since then, he's got 2 and 2. So I thought I've got to whack it out again. And I made a jokey comment about him before, but now I'm starting to think, is he the Turkish Thierry Henry?
Is he?
He might be.
There are loads of conversations to be had, actually, because this is going to be a weird one, because there are some frustrations with our lack of being clinical, but we've got to say, we are not frustrated with being 6th. But when you look at the performance, there are some things that we might want to focus on. But look, we are happy Cherries fans right now, especially when we look at the league table, which sees AFC Bournemouth in a Europa League place, 6th position. And also, Tom,
I'm hungry for something.
The baseline tracker, but you know what that draw did? It meant that we lost 2 points because we were playing a non-Big Six side at home, which was effectively losing 2 points. But alas, it doesn't matter. We're still top of that table as well after
lovely.
week 16. We are on plus 13, Newcastle, Brighton, Villa. They're all up there. Right at the bottom, you've got Ipswich. Wolves, Southampton, Everton are there as well, -6. But we're top of that league, which is the most important table, right? And look, Tom, I feel almost regretful over saying a certain thing. At half-time, I said it on the vlog, and then on my outro as well. To the eye, I thought it was quite turgid at times, especially that first half. And I said to the neutral, this game isn't very exciting. But even watching the highlights back, I thought, Maybe I've set the bar so high in my head after watching Iraola ball that if it's only 50% of that, I'm a bit disappointed. Yeah. I thought it might be a little bit of a bore fest, but really, when looking back at the highlights, it's quite exciting.
Yeah, and I think that we are maybe getting a little bit spoiled by the football we're seeing.
Are we entitled, Tom? Is
maybe.
That what you're saying?
And I think we're looking at it and going, West Ham, we'll just, because of some of the teams we beat. But no, I know what you mean. It was still... We still weren't dominant in the first half. I thought it was kind of, they had a little bit of a go, then we had a little bit of a go. And it was a little bit more scrappy. The second half, I felt we started really well and with a better side. But yeah, I think there's been a few times this season when we go on to the clinical side of it that we've struggled with, where I've gone, we need to test the keeper more. Well, Fabianski did have a blinder.
He did.
So if Fabianski had a blinder, that means we're doing a fair amount of things right. And I don't know, I know everyone's talking about the clinical edge, but I actually felt, there were a few chances we should do better, of course, but I actually felt he made some big saves. I remember the Evan Nilsson flick at the near post, and that's a top save. Yeah. So he deserves a bit of credit as well. I mean, he's bloody old. He's like one of the oldest players in the Premier League, I think. He's still putting it off, and I think he quite liked we gave him the shit out of Boric because he's Polish, and
of course.
He stepped up to that a little bit. But yeah, no, I still felt we'd done most things right, and it was still enjoyable, and you're still always in the game. And they score with a few minutes to go, you go, we'll have a chance.
A few people commenting on YouTube were saying that Bournemouth fans were off their heads by voicing their concern and frustrations. And like Tom said, if you miss sitters, if you see missed chance after missed chance, you expect supporters to maybe talk about that. And that's what we did. And maybe football is not for you if that's the case. Look, you can't look at every game retrospectively. But I'd say we're not angry. Of course not. We're delighted. But we are disappointed, I suppose, when you have chances to kill off a team that I think we probably should have beaten. But in the same breath, I also do want to actually pay credit to West Ham, because I thought they were they were really well drilled and organised,
Yeah.
especially in that first half. They knew exactly how to deal with us, didn't they? And there were players that were running the show for them. Paqueta, I thought Kudus was good in the first half as well.
Always a threat.
But then I think maybe Iraola put a rocket up at half time, and we played the way we wanted to in the second. It was the archetypal game of two halves.
It was a little bit, it was a little bit, and I think, but yeah, West Ham deserves some credit. I think in the last few games, saw them against Newcastle where they won. Remember seeing them recently in that kind of big pressure game against Wolves that they won. And obviously this one, I think they're slowly turned a bit of a corner. They look a bit more settled as a team. I think bringing Paqueta back in was big for him. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he looked like one of the classiest players on the pitch. And as you say, when you've got people like Kudus and Bowen, even when you haven't seen them for a while, you know they're a threat. And that they're always going to, I think, because I actually think Bowen in general was quite quiet.
Yeah. And
then he cuts in, it's the bar, and it's like a little reminder. So they have still got quality and defended relatively well as well. And they had a few players out of position because they had to move Amsaka left back. Yeah. What the biggest compliment to us I could pay is they were 0-0 at the time and they went to a 5 at one point because they obviously got to a point where they thought, let's make sure we get a point here. And that's the biggest compliment you can say, mate, is teams like West Ham are coming here and going, good point.
Yeah.
And it's just mad to us. But I know I wasn't that overly disappointed, actually. I kind of thought, you'll never, if you have the complete team where you're amazing at the back, amazing going forward, you're clinical, everything's perfect, we win the league.
Yeah,
right?
true.
We're not going to ever be that. At the moment, the worst thing is clinicality.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that. I'd much rather create.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd much rather create and be enjoying it. And yeah, if we did have a player that was scoring 20 odd goals, it's already been proven they will leave.
Yeah, very
So
true. It is so strange because I sort of said this and I didn't mean it in a way that was derogatory, but on the vlog I said we're finishing the game here with 4 players that are basically an attacking 4 of misfits. And that wasn't meant to sound disrespectful because, even when we won the league, I think Tommy Elphick in his interview with us said that we were a team full of misfits. But you've got Enes Unal, who was struggling for minutes, David Brooks, who is the same, Dango Ouattara, that's pretty hit and miss, Philip Billing, we don't know where his future lies.
Yeah.
Those 3 of those players managed to combine at Ipswich in the last few minutes. And then again, I thought in the last, 20, 15 minutes, whatever they had, I thought they were actually pretty effective. Yeah. And Unal, who we've spoke about on fan cams in a jokey way before, not knowing where his role is, we've got to now maybe question how can he fulfil his role at AFC Bournemouth? Because we don't know. And is that one of the best free kicks we've seen at Dean Court? Because there are probably a few that spring to mind. And also we want to maybe later on in the show talk about the other direct free kicks that we can remember. Because a lot of people are missing out when they think of direct free kicks. There are a few that spring to mind. There have been ones even more recently that people are not maybe thinking of. We'll talk about that. But yeah, Enes Unal, superb. Tav, Dango, we missed Tav. Dango came in. Did he do the same job? No.
He done the same job as Tav did at Ipswich, and that was miss a sitter and not play very well. I didn't think Dango had a great game.
No.
And yeah, actually, if I went through the 11, I think he was probably our weakest player. He wasn't.
Stats won't tell you that though, by the sounds of it.
Neto was brilliant every week, stats. But I kind of went over the top on purpose on fan cams because I get really agitated that Tav gets stick every week. It's unbelievable. And no one says anything. Everyone just thinks that's fine. You can give Tav stick. So I thought, all right, Dango's had just as bad a game as Tav did the week before. They both missed an absolute sitter, and both just didn't have an effective game. So let's see if I give him stick, if people are fine with it, and they're not. And I don't understand it. If Dango gets stick, you've got an agenda, but if Tav gets stick, it's fine. And I don't really understand it. I think Dango is a million times better off the bench than Tav.
Oh, absolutely.
But Tav is better in the system. He's better tactically. He's better off the ball. But that's something that I would expect Tav to be better at. He's been playing in England all of his career. He's a bit older. Dango's. I want Dango to get there. At the moment, Dango, whether you like it or not, is still raw. He's still young.
He's
still
on the
learning.
journey.
Yeah, and he has definitely shown improvement since he walked through the door. Dango, Jesus, he's gone. I never thought he'd have a future here, and now I'd never want him to go. I wouldn't want him injured, but unfortunately for him, it feels like, in my opinion, he comes on, changes the game. So then you go, right, here's your opportunity to start because you've earned that, and he's never as good. He's
Yeah.
never as good.
And this is the conversation that's...
And Unal's the same, by the way.
100%. And the conversations about these two players and more have been rumbling on the forums. And it's amazing to see the opinions that we have, and there are other supporters that can feel completely differently. We're obviously trying to represent it all, so we're not going to necessarily go down one road here. But there are conversations where you can have two completely isolated opinions. It's like...
That's fine.
It can be somewhere in the middle, and that's where we probably are, but maybe we're erring on one side, but that's just our opinion, of course. But really interesting to...
It's not actually much, sorry about that.
Yeah.
There's not actually much in it, really. Think about what Iraola always says about subs. I think obviously you never know context of a game, but just for argument's sake, I'd quite like Tav for the first 60.
Yeah.
And then I'd quite like Dango for the next third.
Absolutely.
So it's not that, I'm talking about half an hour. I think
Yeah.
Dango is really effective and really good for the squad. It was just a point that I thought Tav got so much abuse the week before for missing a chance that he should score, but I actually felt it was a little bit harder than people gave credit to. It was coming very quick, he didn't see it. Dango got a chance that he's got to score that. And he's come off his heel because he hasn't judged it right. And I didn't really hear many people talking about it. I just thought that was weird.
We definitely need to talk about that. And look, those aren't the only players. I mean, look, I suppose they both collectively get a little bit more heat because they haven't got the credit in the bank in terms of their numbers, especially Tav last season. I think by his own admission wasn't the greatest. We all know that Dango really struggled last season, this season, and we saw that pre-season in America because we saw that he changed games when he came on, not by doing anything in particular, but just the energy he brings, the explosiveness he brings.
Definitely.
But in the same breath, I need to say there are other players that we maybe can rely on a little bit more that aren't getting the heat because they produced earlier this season. Semenyo, I didn't think was great. Cliver wasn't.
Even Evan Nilsson.
Even Evan Nilsson, usually his hold-up play is very good. He produced a number of, okay flicks at times that put us in. But overall, I was maybe a little bit disappointed.
They were all off it, yeah.
But then, in the same breath, like I say, you can pay credit to West Ham because I think they were really well drilled.
And I think it's one of them things with Semenyo in particular. I said to you off camera.
Yeah.
I thought Bowen was quiet. But Bowen, you always think, but he could do something at enough. And that was Semenyo because he's proven it. And that with Bowen because he's proven it. So even when they're having an off day, you go, but he could just do something in a minute. Do you know what I mean? And Semenyo, obviously, it sounds like he's okay, but he obviously had some sort of tightness and Andoni said he had to come off. So maybe that was playing a part earlier in the game as well. I don't know.
And it is important to contextualise this and say, like, we're not moaning, but it's okay. They're like, the world we're in is okay to be able to be happy but also frustrated at the same time.
Yeah.
And we can put it in context. Tom was there at the 5-0 against Morecambe. He was there at the 6-0 against Norwich. He's been to some horrific matches where he's been valid to moan. Of course, most of the complaints we have these days are tongue-in-cheek, just because we know, look, Bill Foley's own motto is always advance, never retreat. He don't want to see Dango missing those chances. He don't want to see Tav missing an open goal against Ipswich. I think he would be as upset as most of us. But look, we are looking at a team that we approach every single match day thinking we can win this. It doesn't matter who we play. But I was in here on the vlog chatting to a number of people.
Yeah.
Confidence wasn't as high.
Yeah.
Is that because it's West Ham and there's all these Monday stats, or is it because we question our own confidence? Like, fans don't matter, but as fans, we did feel a little bit nervous going into this.
Whereas I think everyone was quite confident against Tottenham, for example, before the game. And I think a lot of it now is evidence-based. So we've said a lot about our late goals, and we go, well, that's evidence-based. They've done it against Luton, they've done it against Everton, so the team know they can do it. And I think with us now, we're going, God, we've shown we can beat Man City, we can beat Arsenal, but we've also shown that teams that are a little bit more organised, but maybe not as explosive and not as the big boys, Leicester, Brentford, we struggle a little bit to break them down. So I think it's more that. So it wouldn't shock me if people so me, for example, just go off quickly, I'm more confident against Man United away than I am at Crystal Palace at home. Which sounds mad, but that's because of the evidence I've been provided by our team and the way we play. And I just happened to watch Palace. I don't know if you watched it. I watched Palace Brighton. It was an early kickoff.
Yes, I did. Saw the whole thing.
And I thought Brighton, going to be a banker here. And Palace just let them have all the ball. And then just went bang on the counter attack.
They were brilliant. That first half, especially. Wow.
And I just think, well, there's obviously difference, but similarities to us and Brighton a little bit. And I just think, Palace look like a tough nut to crack, and they could catcher. Whereas Man United at Old Trafford with a new manager will be expected to dominate the ball, which will suit us.
Merry Christmas to you guys that are going to have your Christmas Day. Looking forward to that pre-match preview of Palace at home on Boxing Day. But look, also, I think it's the history in terms of the stats as well, that before the game, no team in the Premier League this season has covered more total distance per 90 or made more high-speed runs per 90 than the Cherries. So could we continue that intensity? The game started with a team, Tom, that we were absorbing in the QP at 6:45, and you just know that. You just knew that was going to be named, right?
I was confident about that one, I must say. I think with Tav coming out, it felt pretty obvious. And I think, again, like we just spoke enough about, I think because Dango did so well off the bench, I thought he's going to be rewarded with a start now, as he should. And he's got that chance. And I didn't really see why anyone else would come out. So yeah, it was kind of as I expected. I think they brought Paqueta in as I thought, and they did move Wan-Bissaka side, which I also said. But it was Soler. I think I went with, who did I blimmin' go with? I forgot now. But they put Soler in. I thought, I had Somerville when I had Paqueta in the 10. So yeah, they done that. But yeah, they were kind of as I expected as well. And they had a few options on the bench that frightened me, and it did kind of, I suppose, in a way, make a difference, because Fulkrug, who come on, was in the box when they ended up winning that penalty. Somerville was always lively. They didn't bring on Ings, did they?
No, they didn't.
Which I was surprised about, because sometimes I just think there's always something. Just chuck on a player that's played against Soul Club. Yeah. You never know, but they didn't, and I was quite happy with that.
Our lineup, I suppose, by putting Dango in, it sort of created the least havoc compared to our last lineup, maybe. Sort of less changes, perhaps. But you know what?
Because you're going to have to roll with people around if you say bring in, or you bring in Tyler Adams and move Christie around or whatever. So yeah, I understood that.
Speaking of Ryan Christie, he was first to produce a shot. I think there was a really good bit of interplay between Semenyo and Cliver, and then it found Christie, who it was slightly deflected, but it looked like it could have been nestling in the bottom left-hand corner, but it just went wide. But we produced a number of chances, but West Ham were probably equal to them as well. We hit the post, they hit the post. Semenyo hit the post for us, didn't he? And a bit of a draggy shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it never looked like it was going in, but it did clip the post, didn't it? It was a good little move. And to be fair, it was weird, because I felt like we were actually getting in from when Kepa was getting his goal kicks right and his long kicks out. We were winning them flick-ons, and to be fair, go back to him, that's what Dango's very good at. Yeah. And Dango and Semenyo either side, you fancy them in a duel with their fullback to win the header. And I just felt if we gambled a little bit more on the other side, we could have gotten a little bit more. But it was. But then I felt they started getting a little bit more control on the game.
It was weird actually, because the game was it felt like the game was mostly played in the middle third, because it wasn't like Bournemouth had any sustained pressure as such. No. And West Ham, their chances were sort of few and far between as well, really. So it was a bit of an odd one to work out, and that's why we sort of suggested it might have been a bit scrappy and not a good watch for the neutral. But yeah, I mean, Cliver was running forward, overran it, and then West Ham broke, and then the ball found Bowen, who just stopped.
It's good.
Nice little lobbed shot, or dink, or whatever you call it, but just a little chip that was a little bit too high, hit the woodwork for them. I think Bowen again from a tight angle.
Straight at Kepa, wasn't it?
Yeah, tested Kepa, like it was at his near post. He sort of palmed it into the air and then caught it.
That's right.
Not for the first time in that game, by the way. Soler, I think he cut back onto his right foot, and then that just went wide of the post. Souček also just hit it wide. A bit of a comedy of errors where the ball came in from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think, on one side. Howson and Kirkes conspired to miss the ball, and then Souček pulled the shot wide as well. But then, probably the chance of the half, just before half-time, and we mentioned Dango Ouattara, we've alluded to it already, and the ball came across. I think Semenyo was on the right, and it found its way to Ouattara, who had space and time to watch that onto his foot.
Well, I don't know what I was going to say.
And somehow, great save by Fabianski.
Yeah, he's some people are saying he was trying to go to the other side, which I disagree with. I think there's a massive gap. He's trying to tap it in. Unfortunately, he's got his angles wrong. It's like heel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then Fabianski's managed to get across. But yeah, it's a glaring chance that, like I say, that he should score. And yeah, the week prior, it was Tav just before half time, wasn't it?
Can I say this? But can I say something controversial?
Go on.
I think this could be an agenda. I think Dango's chance was easier than Tav's. Now, Tav's had an XG, I think, of 0.96.
Because the keeper wasn't there, that's why.
And he was on the line, basically.
Yeah. They don't take into account how quick the ball's going, or how much blindsided he is, or whatever. Yeah, it's just the fact that
Dango's was 0.3. But like Tav's, I don't think he saw the ball until last minute. It was flashed across, whereas Dango had time to watch that. And there was a big bit of open goal to the left of Fabianski, or to the right of Fabianski from his point of view. And Yeah, the contact wasn't very good
He
whatsoever.
got the contact wrong, didn't he, unfortunately? But yeah, it was, like I said, it was a nice move. But and Fabianski still got to save it, I suppose. But it's just, I think he's just unfortunately got it wrong and it's hit his heel. So the ball hasn't gone where he thought it was going to go, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a big chance. It was a big chance right half time.
There wasn't much of a press during that half at all, was it? It wasn't like Iraola just, for some reason we didn't really press like we would usually. Well, we did in the second, but the first half.
Yeah, I didn't think they were giving us. I thought they were quite clever. They weren't giving us too much. They weren't like drawing us on by playing out from the back and making, we're going, right, let's go and press them. I felt like they go quite quick to get the ball up high. And Paqueta was dropping into good areas and getting hold of the ball. And I think we were being a little bit more cautious with that potentially. And I wonder if it was their threats out wide as well. We didn't want to leave ourselves too open. But yeah, we certainly, second half, it looked like Iraola said to him, look, come on, right, you haven't, I always say how much energy you need. You haven't put a lot of it in that first half, so let's go and smash it. And as soon as the second half started, we were back.
Yeah, we were. And we mentioned Dango, and I've sort of said this already, but I know we say that he's an impact player. Maybe he's just a second half player.
He was definitely better.
Because I think when matches naturally get stretched out, the more they go, players are getting more tired and there's space in behind the defence. West Ham were very well drilled. It was compact. There wasn't much room in behind the defence for Dango to exploit, whereas in the second half you saw more of that. It was a great move even late on where Phil Bill and Dango combined, and that's where you want Dango to be. But the first half he didn't have that as much. I mean, like playing a team like Southampton who left loads of room in behind early doors, 3-0 up. Perfect.
Yes. But yeah, and I think, it makes sense. Dango's, as we've said, he's young, he's energetic, he's quick, he's fit, he's going to get strong in the second half. And their right back was like, he's got to be older than me. Please say he's older than me, Kufau, because he looks old, but he's lost his hair, hasn't he? But he's an aging right back that doesn't play much. Yeah. He's come in because of a suspension. So he's obviously going to tire a little bit more, which is going to help Dango. And then I think in the end, they actually probably, not just Dango, but they obviously looked at it and went, we started to cause problems with our pace, and that's why they went to a 5. And they moved Kufau into a right centre-back because he didn't have the legs. So yeah, Dango definitely was better in the second half, I felt. It was still that final bit, but he caused them more problems for sure.
Yeah, and we missed one of Dango's shots, actually, shooting wide from the edge of the box, low and wide on 47. I think we just got back in time for Christie's stinger, as Mike Tyler on the World Feed commentated about, where Semenyo laid it back to him and palmed over by Fabianski. But the second half was a lot better.
And then we had the corner that Zab's header. Do you think he should have done better?
I think so. I think Christie took the corner and it was cleared. Then Lewis Cook, lovely first time pass back to Christie. And I think Andy Townsend on one of the commentary streams was talking about how good the cross was from Christie to find Zaba. It was quite difficult because he had a player sort of to his left, so he was trying to angle himself.
I thought his net was a bit angled, so it was harder than it looked.
I wasn't sure at the time whether he was trying to head it back across goal for someone to nod it in, or whether it was I
think he was trying to just loop it into that corner.
Do a Fletch. But obviously,
it's weird with Zabs because obviously we had that Luton one that was quite fortunate anyway, and he just went over the line. That's his only goal. Zabs, he's an absolute monster, unbelievable at the back, wins everything. Never really a threat from forward set pieces, is he?
And you've challenged him to that in our early season show for Savani to score a header.
Yeah, so
it's coming.
It just surprised me that it never seems like he has loads of chances from there when you think he would. But yeah, it was unlucky. But like you say, man, I think that was about 10 minutes in the second half and we just spoke about 3 chances.
Exactly. And it was all us. And the attacking momentum does suggest that. Look at that. Yeah. That shows you that West Ham had the lion's share of attacking momentum, which uses lots of stats and metrics to come up with that. If you're watching on YouTube, basically you can see what's going on the podcast. West Ham are dominating the first half and Cherries the second half. They had isolated moments, that was in the second. But I did feel like it was all us. And look, some changes were made from us on around 68 minutes. Of course, we know that Soler came off, full crew came on, and he would maybe be pivotal later on for them in a few of their moments. But Antoine Semenyo and Adam Smith made way. Brooks and Adams come on. And I was looking at Max Aarons warming up on the sideline. I think, that guy, right, he's a right back.
They reckon he's going to Turkey, weirdly, don't they?
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah, he is a right back, but what did I say the other day?
What did you say the other day,
I
Tom?
said,
remind me.
Is Lewis Cook the second best right back we've got? And honestly, again...
And that's no disrespect to Max Aarons.
No, of course it ain't. But
he's so versatile from that position.
Cook played like nearly half hour, right? He's brilliant, wasn't he? He's brilliant. I thought, oh God, that's going to be tough because he had Kudus and then bloody Somerville come on and he was good. And I think Smithy, I've said this before, we probably haven't got the options because he clearly doesn't trust Aarons. That's not in a horrible way. He just doesn't, obviously. And Araujo's injured. And I've said it's going to be difficult because to keep Smithy fit over this period. So instead of not playing him, he's brought him off a few times and used Cook there because now we've got Adams. So that made sense. And obviously Semenyo obviously was feeling something a little bit. And I was glad to see Brooksy on, to be honest. I think he's been doing all right off the bench. And obviously one of the recent home games he come on and scored, didn't he? So I was quite happy with the changes, to be honest. And then they obviously brought Somerville on, which scared me a little bit.
Yeah.
But then they also took Kudus off and brought on a youth player at left back and were trying to kind of see it out a little bit. But yeah, no, I was happy with the changes.
Yeah, that's right. And wow, I mean, speaking of like Fulkrug, you came on for West Ham. Zabani made an unbelievable tackle, and AFC Bournemouth need to be clipping this up if they haven't already.
Yeah, I think
because he came in and just as he was about to pull the trigger, slid in and won that. And I think it just went back to Kepa. But what a challenge that was, and what a moment of play that was as well, by the way. Because only a minute later, we had that cross from Christie. Was it a corner? I think it was a corner.
Yeah. Near post.
Evan Nilsson flicked it on, and Fabianski, right place, right time. Good save from him.
I was just like, you know, because you obviously know where I'm sat in the north. So wherever is basically where I am, that post.
You must be thinking that's it.
And well, what I was going to say is before the corner, Christie talks to Eva.
Oh, does he?
Just have a little chat, I think, or whatever. And then when Christie puts it down, Eva just instantly goes to the near post. So it was obviously, right, let's try this near post one that we do.
Christie's delivery was very good in this whole game, I thought.
Yeah, and I thought Eva got it perfectly, the flick. And Fabianski's reactions were very good. That was the only way he was going to save. He had to react quickly, and Fabianski was switched on. He had a good game. But
I've just had a little thought, mate. This is a weird thought, right? I'm telling you, right, Christie, I think, is getting a little bit better in the final third. His crosses, also his shooting was better. I think his shots that he had on goal.
They used to hit him like just all over.
Were very good.
Yeah.
There was one I think that he had where he was leaning back. Technique was awful, and it flew like miles over the bar. But on the whole, I think his shots are getting better. I think, now, I wish I said this on the previous show where we had to make our outlandish statements. I think he's going to finish the season with 5 goals.
How many's he got? One.
So
you reckon he's going to get 4 more?
Yeah, I genuinely think he will, because he really... And look, we made some changes with Billing that came on the pitch as well as Unal, and they proved to be quite pivotal. Evan Nilsson and Clivert making way. And at that point in time, I think... Christie had a shot that was very, very well saved by the keeper. We had a really good spell of possession, and it ended up with Christie, who it was as hard as he could have hit it. But maybe not the correct place to put it. But and look at our shots, mate. I mean, this was over the whole game, but.
And they had quite a lot. There was a lot of shots in that game. Was it most in the league this season? It was up there, I think.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 45 in 90 minutes. Incredible stat. But so that's what, a shot every 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, like I say, and I think it was the most shots that West Ham have come up against. But
it didn't feel like that though, did it? I mean, a lot of them were blocked, obviously.
Yeah, there's always blocked shots and stuff. Probably not. But then, yeah, I don't know. It did open up a little bit, didn't it? But and as I said, if Fabianski's getting a lot of credit, there's a reason for that. And if Goldie's getting a lot of credit, it's normally because of had some saves to make.
So Dango stayed on the pitch, and so him and Billing combined really well. Billing, he pulled it back to Billing, who was in a great position. West Ham had men on the line. I don't know what Billing should have done, just smashed it.
I thought he was just going to hammer it, and I thought, well, he's just going to hit it through them all.
But he sort of placed it in the direction that he thought that there would be a gap, and that... I thought that Billing did all right.
Yeah, I thought Billing done pretty well.
He's an option now. Brooks is now an option. Like, all these people are starting to be an option.
Yeah, well, we've spoken enough about, and obviously all the stats tell you how good our subs always are with Andoni and how he uses them to finish games really strong. And then I've been worried recently, I keep saying it in previews and stuff, been worried that every other injury just means our bench is getting weaker and weaker. But what it's actually done for a few of them, like the two you mentioned in particular, it's making them go, right, now's my chance then.
100% they're taking the chance, yeah.
And I think the thing is, because of the way he makes the subs, no one feels like they're not... All them subs must believe that I might have a big impact on this game, because he's always going to make the subs and ask me to do something. So, yeah, I thought they both helped us, Billing and Brooks, I thought. Yeah, Billing gave it away a few times, but I thought he had a little bit more control in there, which is quite nice.
He'll score at Old Trafford, I feel, Bill.
Was that his last goal, by the way?
I think he will score at Old Trafford. What?
Old Trafford.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
I can't think of a goal since then.
I think he's going to score at Old Trafford again.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. No, but, look, it wasn't us. Yeah, kiss the badge. I think that was my challenge.
He was smiling when we scored the winner.
Yeah. Oh, that's something. That's something. Look, on 84, 85 minutes, West Ham, they managed to break away. I think Dango maybe lost.
No, again, this is what I don't want to go. This is the thing. I think it just.
I don't want to talk about Dango, but I will.
No, if Tav had done that, everyone would be saying, well, the only reason they got a penalty was because Tav lost the ball again. No one mentioned it on fan cams. The ball kind of Dango, and I don't know how he just didn't control it. And then they obviously broke down the right. Decent ball. I didn't see it at the time at all. It was actually a good reaction save from Kepa, even though Fulkrug should do better.
Yeah.
He still got down well. And then I think it might have been Houghton that come and just cleared it. And then it showed the replay before they said VAR on our screen.
Okay.
And I went to my mate next to me. I went, oh, I think his arm was raised there. And then it went VAR, and I thought, oh, no.
Here we go.
Because as soon as the arm's in a weird position, you don't know what's going to happen now.
It's one of them that if that happened to us, I'd be crying out for a pen. But this is where I don't like the description unnatural, because if you're a footballer, that's natural. When you're sort of lunging in like that, you do not lunge in any way that keeps your hands to your side. You don't. You naturally do that. So this is where the kind of... But Andoni in his post-match interview was talking about, well, last week I chatted to someone and they told me this about unnatural position, and then
because they said
it doesn't go like that.
We don't want defenders feeling like they have to put their hands behind their back. So if it's natural, it won't be given. Yeah. But they've decided that's so unnatural that they have to get them involved and tell them to look at the screen and change the referee's initial decision.
And what's frustrating is if you sort of look at it on cricket, when you've got the snickometer.
What's that?
What
is that? What cricket have some? What's
snickometer? Where the ball's bowled, and if it hits the bat, there's a little sound wave where you can see, and obviously that slightly changes the trajectory of the ball. And
sounds riveting.
All I'm saying is that the ball's trajectory. It didn't change that much. If anything, it probably favoured Fulkrug, who got a bet, because otherwise it would have been a little bit behind him.
Yeah, I think Carragher said that afterwards. He said that it's very harsh on Bournemouth, he said, and it's given them a chance they wouldn't have had. I was more annoyed at the fact that a week prior, we played Ipswich.
You were about to say what I was going to say. Yeah.
Cliver gets absolutely smashed. The ball comes to Tav and he hits the post. And Andoni said that they said, well, you had an advantage, which is mental because the penalties are always better than a chance like that. Well, was that not an advantage then? Because it was a free header in the box. I don't really get it. But there was no surprise to me that when he was called over the screen, he was going to give it.
And it's the freeze frame that gets me. Because if you look at it on freeze frame, if you look at it at a 20th of the speed, you're going to give a pen.
Yeah.
If you look at it in real time, I'm not sure. I think even Dermot Gallagher pretty much said it shouldn't be a penalty, but in quotes, they have to give it. Well,
what's the point? I'm not getting into it again. It's crap, innit?
And, and I saw this on a forum, but we shouldn't forget that not so long ago, a West Ham defender played volleyball in the penalty area against us, and the ref did nothing.
And in that same game, they got another penalty because it was a Zamora handball. And then a game in the cup this season, it hit Bowen's hand, and they scored. But they will tell us, so I'm going to say it now, it's all karma for the hand of magic from Callum Wilson. But surely that's done now. Like, you've had enough now. That's it.
Yeah,
we're even.
Equals pequals, right?
No, it is what it is. It's it's just frustrating, the whole general rule, but it's nothing against West Ham. Like I said, I'll be screaming for it as well because, the handball rule seems all over the place. But I wasn't normally, because I know Kepa historically is a good penalty.
Yeah, you're not instantly thinking goal.
No, I was going to say, but because it was Paqueta, I didn't think he was going to say, but Paqueta's, I've always seen, looks quite cool.
He's got a funny technique, hasn't he? Like, I thought that kind of technique of like stopping dead was not allowed anymore.
He did keep moving a little bit.
Did he?
You've only got to keep moving a tiny bit. And obviously he scored. So then I thought, oh God, we've got to score late again. Here we go. And I'm going to caveat, just to prove that we're not being any sort of bias towards the decision. Obviously the free kick we're about to talk about. I wasn't sure that was a free kick.
Ooh.
So actually, it may have been. I would have to sit back a few more. But at the time I thought that's quite fortunate.
Interesting.
It was kind of a 50-50 where it looks, I think we got it because he was in the back. He come through the back. But I don't think he actually went mentally through him. I think it was Mavropanos.
Wow.
But at the time I thought, we'll take that. Yeah, it didn't feel blatant anyway.
I'm going to have a look at this decision that was made here because I can't, I'm going to have a look. You'll see it on screen.
Yeah.
Your own decision up in the comments. But I spoke on their vlog intro about it being a day of threes, like, we hadn't beaten West Ham in 3 attempts at Dean Court.
Oh, okay.
Of course, Cliver scored 3 pens after 3 Evan Nilsson assists, and that then prompted a run of 3 wins for AFC Bournemouth. And it was 3 minutes between the goal from Paqueta and Unal stepping up. And at this stage, I mean, what... Like, I've never seen him do that. I mean, apparently there's a YouTube compilation of him doing it.
Yeah,
it was the knuckleball technique, wasn't it?
It made me look clever because it just happened that the lads that were just behind me went, "Why the hell's he taking it?" And I just turned around and went, I think he used to take them. I think he is actually a good free kick taker.
2 or 3 steps back.
I can't believe he smashed it.
And you know what? He's gonna look back, right, and he's gonna just think this was one of my best goals for AFC Bournemouth. And you know what? There's gonna be something that's gonna annoy him. Have a bit of grass on his face.
Or the fact he's going to look back at the end of his career again. That was an unbelievable free kick. Why didn't I smile? He looked so angry, didn't he?
But that 2 or 3 steps back, and he approaches the ball, clears the wall easily, but then the dip.
One of them ones, as soon as it left his foot, it's in. You know it's in.
God, man. What's
the
a goal?
Okay, what's the best free kick you've seen at Dean Court from a Bournemouth player? Could you ever remember that West Ham one, funnily? Pyatt.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That was
So I'll say that before the West Ham fans say.
Yeah, that was a very good one. I mean, Brett Pittman scored some absolute.
There's obviously the
ones.
Harry Wilson at the 10 Mac,
Manchester City. Yeah,
but I was thinking about where I sit.
Yeah,
Matt Ritchie,
Sheffield Wednesday.
But it's a layoff.
Yeah, it was a layoff. But that was more top corner than I think any. Well, Harry Wilson's was pretty top corner, but that one there and the gravity of the game as well.
Yeah. But it's up there.
Yeah, it is up there. So direct free kicks. When was our previous one before that?
It's got to be Harry Wilson at Tottenham.
No.
Tottenham away. He got 2 at Tottenham. He scored 2 at Tottenham. Do you remember the game?
Yeah,
Harry Wilson scored 2. Oh, have he scored since?
What year was Harry Wilson?
It was it relegation season, so just before COVID.
Yeah, but like Rico scored, of course, a direct free kick at Barnsley.
But
then,
hang on. Are you talking about? If you're talking about this, is this like a stupid one? Is it a cup game? At home.
Is it?
Was it Joe Rothwell?
That's a direct free kick.
Oh, come on.
That's a direct free kick.
Is that his only goal for us?
What?
I think that's his only goal for us, isn't it?
Was it?
He just crosses it and it goes past everyone and goes in.
I think that's the last one.
I forget that is a direct free kick, though, isn't it?
But then, do you remember, this was before Harry Wilson, but Junior Stanislas scored a brilliant one against West Brom.
Yeah.
I had a great view of that at the time.
It feels like a while since, Stanislas was a free kick specialist, I guess, but he was never there. Harry Wilson was, but we only had him on loan for a bit. So it doesn't feel like we've had some. I'll tell you what I've just remembered. Do you remember Brighton away? Jan Kermigan? That's a good one.
That was a similar position, I would say.
Yeah, Jan Kermigan was good. But I always remember when I was growing, you'll remember, when I first started watching Bournemouth, being crap as we were, Jamie Vincent was good at a free kick.
Yeah, he was,
he was great. It always seems nicer, aesthetically pleasing with a lefty as well.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I will say is that I don't think the TV angles do that free kick justice.
No, I probably agree.
Just as I think that, in the Matt Ritchie versus Charlie Daniels goal of the season,
start that again.
Where
I always lose that.
He scored the chest and the volley against Sunderland, and then
Daniels gets City.
Man City, and that I think got voted the goal of the season, didn't it?
Everything.
But Matt Ritchie's I don't think the TV angles do that one justice.
Okay. Yeah, we went to the 125th anniversary and they done that again.
Yeah.
And again, Daniels come out on top. It's an unbelievable goal. For me personally, it's all personal with goals like that, because some people like a team goal, some people like a dribble for 30, like Pittman at Fulham, for example, Scott Parker away. But for me personally, I just think technically, Matt Ritchie,
100%.
It's to chest and then volley from a corner coming out. I just think,
and Matt Ritchie, friend of the channel. Hi, Matt. But look, another late goal for AFC Bournemouth. Up to Joe. It says that Bournemouth have scored the most goals and have the highest XG of any team in the final 15 minutes of play in the Premier League this season. This is why you should never leave early. I know you may have your reasons, but don't leave early because something is likely to happen, and it did.
Well, the only reason you have to leave is get like a pint or food at that. Do it on like 38. Why would you leave at the end? Everyone has a go at me for going down on 38 minutes to get a pint. And then the amount of people that miss goals at the end of a game.
And especially as there was 8 minutes injury time. So a lot of people probably missed a lot of action. And we had a couple of half chances towards
Dan got it one there as well. We hit it like near post and I think he just caught it.
Yeah.
If he got
and
that.
There was one where I think Kirkes had a strike that the cross came over and it was just blocked.
But it looked like it was fizzing. It looked like it would hurt the way it hit. But again,
I genuinely thought with 8 minutes, I genuinely thought we're going to win
that's what it's like now.
Genuinely thought
and the thing is, if you'd said to both managers,
do you want to play an extra 5 minutes? And Andoni would have said, yes, please. And Lopetegui would have said, get me out. And that was the way we keep finishing it. And that seems to happen in virtually every game, doesn't it, that we play? So, which is a great thing to have because it shows the energy levels as well. And again, it shows that the subs are making an impact. I felt for James Hill, he was about to come on.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
He was about to come on. And obviously then we got the equaliser. Who knows where he would have come on. He probably would have come on in like the number 10 or something, no, Andoni. But
probably, and then netted the winner for us. But West Ham, well drilled. The average positions, I think, show you how condensed it was at times. You can see it on screen if you're watching on YouTube. In terms of West Ham and their organisation and Lopetegui going forward, Is he the man? Is patience a virtue? Do they need to give him a bit of time? Because did you see some promise in what you saw?
Yeah, I think they've got to give him a season at least. And
like you say, the pressure isn't exactly there like it maybe would be if you're hovering around the relegation zone.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the league's awful.
Yeah, they're not going to be anywhere near that. And I think not only the season, I think really they should then go, okay, give him another summer window and see how he does. I think, I mean, it's very vague, but I think they'll be top 12. So what I'm basically saying there is I think that 12 is probably the lowest they'll be.
Yeah.
And I probably think Conference League is probably the best they could be this season. So but I would, and from our perspective, I'd like to think, I think that us and them will be probably quite close actually by the end of the season. And we are doing very well. So yeah, I don't think they've got any problems. They've got a lot of quality in there. And as I said, they deserve credit for the fact that they've lost Emerson, who's their main left back. Yeah. Obviously Fabian's having a great game. He's not always their number one. And yeah, they've got a few players out. Obviously, we know about the Antonio situation, who probably would have started the game. So Bowen has to play up front as well. He's normally on the wing.
True.
So, and they're still looking good. And what I say to West Ham is we've been very, very good at home. They'll be happy to know we beat Tottenham and Arsenal. We also beat Man City, which everyone's doing. West Ham are one of the better teams I think we've played.
Yeah, I agree.
Actually, so yeah, I think they'll be absolutely fine, mate. Absolutely fine. But yeah, they might even start creeping up, I think.
We said that we'd, on our YouTube pinned comment on the vlog, we said we'd go through just a few of the comments that have been left. Chris says, so glad you and Kieran were on the end where Unal scored a piece of magic. Awesome to have Kieran in the country to see some matches. It'll be awesome, Chris, to see you very soon. January, right? We'll be looking forward to seeing you. An Ipswich fan commented, 6th place, Europe incoming. I mean, we can't.
No, we can't get Europe.
I love your game day vlogs, says Brian 10 Beers. They give a taste of the fellowship and the passion of being at a match for those of us who are unable to attend. And that brings me on to one of my points. Was the atmosphere a little bit flat?
You say this right, go back. He says this every time.
I thought it was a bit flat.
Yeah, but you say it every time, so that means it's just normal, isn't it?
I thought it was flat.
It's never that rowdy. It's bloody dink. We're never good at home. Like no team is. No. Really. Yeah, I didn't think it was any different than normal, mate. I like the Enes Unal, ole, ole. I did like that.
Yeah, very good. I didn't hear that though, because I was on the right side of the North Stand. It's not as loud as the left, is it? Nope. Anyway, Granite State of Mind said for most of the first half it was unorganised chaos, and we were second best with Kirkes well off his game.
Oh, I disagree totally. I thought Kirkes had a good game.
Yeah?
I thought Kirkes was very good. Okay. I think we've said this before with Kirkes. Last season, all we were going is he's unbelievable going forward, but he needs to sort it out defensively. I think he's maybe lost a tiny bit going forward, but he's so much better defensively now. And there's a reason why everyone wants him.
Old Joe agrees with you, saying standout players for Kirkes for Cherries were Kirkes, Zabani and Christie. Add Unal as an impact sub. What a strike from him. Absolutely top draw.
Because Christie got that match in the stadium, didn't he? I think Unal got it off Monday Night Football. Yeah. That's brilliant. I love that. That is so lazy, isn't it? Yeah. It's almost like, I think it was Alan Smith. Yeah. It's almost like he goes, I can't remember any of the players' names now. It's Bournemouth. I'll say the one that's just scored. Did you see on TalkSport, by the way? What? They tried to talk about Bournemouth doing really well. Yeah. So I thought, they're giving Bournemouth a bit of, we always say that TalkSport and that never talk about us. And then they put their clip up on YouTube going, Bournemouth doing well. They spelt Iraola's name wrong.
You're joking.
It's just classic, isn't it?
By the way, good job for Ben Phillips, our own TikTok man, who was on the preview show with Hawksby and Jacobs, by the way. Thought Ben spoke really well about AFC Bournemouth. It's not on YouTube, but we clipped it up and you can see it there. Ben doing his thing from his car. Well done on passing your driving test, Ben.
Go on,
absolute baller. Conversations, of course, in the comments all about VAR as well. Yeah. VAR and handballs costing us this season, says Canavaras, which, I do agree with. Someone also said, I was worried before the match as we had an 8-day break. maybe my imagination, but we seem to come out of the trap sluggish after an international break, and in last night's case, a fixture lag. Maybe?
That's not a bad shout. It's a weird one, isn't it? Like, so obviously we've got Man U coming up, and we wouldn't have played since the West Ham game, and they're playing on Thursday night.
Yeah.
It's a cup game, so they might change players, of course. They've got options to do so. But it always depends which way you look at it. You can either go, God, I'll tell you what, we've had more break than Man U, we're much fit, or you're going to have, or if they get a certain result, you go, oh, they've got the momentum, we haven't. It's always up to the players to react, but maybe there's something in that. When you win late at Ipswich, you kind of want another game, keep your momentum going, maybe.
And plenty of talk about the penalty and VAR as well. We'll finish with Dave Woodland, who says, we never got going against West Ham, one of those games, but we never give up. It's a point, and I'm beaten in 5 games and 6th in the league. I will take that, and I will certainly do that as well.
Who was your man of the match, you personally?
My man of the match. You know what? There's a player that was not even been mentioned today, Lewis Cook, I thought was very good.
That's his bar now, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
He plays like that and no one mentions him.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think players that are in that position, like I was talking about Tyler Adams the other day, if you have a good game, it's probably we haven't mentioned. So, we should probably sing a song about him though. Man of the match. I don't think it's going to be any of the attacking 4. Zabani could get a shout, maybe.
Last 2 games, Zabani, incredible.
Howson, I thought, was in the first half a little bit. He was good, but there were a couple of distribution moments where weren't great. Zabani for me, I think.
Howson looked like a top player that's still a teenager.
Who scored man of the match then? Based on stats.
Dango.
He'll probably be up there.
He'll be all right. He'll be 7, I reckon. Could it be one of theirs, actually? I'm trying to think who'll get it.
It's a Bournemouth player.
Oh, it is a Bournemouth player. Christie?
It's Christie. 8.2.
Felt like he was involved in everything.
Dango's the second best on 7.4.
Yeah, you've never doubted Dango.
For AFC Bournemouth.
This was on my phone, by the way, because we were just talking about them players in that position.
Yeah.
No player in the Premier League this season has won more challenges per 90 minutes than Tyler Adams.
Very good
So
start.
that's obviously a small sample size because he hasn't played loads, but it's just showing that he's obviously gonna have an impact for us, and he's a big player to come. And I thought he done pretty well when he came on as well.
Is the we've got high XG, but obviously our conversion rate's not very good. Is that gonna eventually catch up with us this season, do you think?
Maybe. You wanted more chat than that, didn't you? I don't know. It's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. I personally think that we've lost our top goal scorer. We've replaced him with someone that's never played in the league, who we're all happy with. I think he'll only start scoring more goals, personally.
Where's your bar at now? Where's your
in what sense?
In terms
the
of
table, the next game.
In terms of where how you feel now versus where we finish at the end of the season. Like, do you feel as though we're in such a good vein of form? I wouldn't take anything else other than top 10, or we should be maybe in the European conversations until the final match week, that kind of thing. Where's your bar at?
I'd be disappointed. I feel like it's a missed opportunity if we finish bottom half. I think we've shown at this stage of the season, we're nearly at Christmas, that we're more than capable of being a top 10 side.
Yeah.
I'd obviously be over the moon if we got any sort of European football. But I'm still at the point where I think we're probably not just going to quite have enough to get Europe, personally. Just little things like when I watched against Brighton, I thought, okay, there's a little bit more knack there. I don't think they were unbelievable, but there's a little bit more know-how sometimes. And we've seen that in bits. I think we'll still get some big results, and we'll get some kind of headline results again. But we'll probably just miss out. But if we keep playing like this and are not dragged into any sort of relegation conversation, which I'll be surprised if we are, I'm always happy.
I noticed that there's an overlap fan debate.
Who are the
tumbleweed moment?
God, they hate Bournemouth, don't they?
Like, I'm not expecting it to be us. Just any Bournemouth fan.
Get someone.
Just represent, and we're not. So obviously we're not good enough for relegation chat anymore.
They don't believe
we are
Europe.
mid-table fodder apparently, but we are 6th in the league, lads. But hey, look, games to come then. You said that we'll pick up some results against teams that we don't expect. Let's talk about the next 3. Man United away, Palace on Boxing Day, Fulham away on the 29th. What are we getting?
What do I think we'll get?
If I ask you what you hope we'll get, you'd say 9 points.
I think personally we'll get 4.
So we are drawing at United?
No, we'll beat United. I think
we'll lose against Palace.
We'll draw with Palace and lose at Fulham is my prediction.
Is that what you're thinking?
That's just right now. But if we were to go and beat Man U, beat Palace, then I probably won't predict us to lose at Fulham.
Yeah.
Fire. So it all depends on context, but it's just my, But having said that, last year, what did I say? We had Palace and Man U back to back, and I said, this is going to be the best week ever. And we got 6 points.
Yeah.
It would just, my sort of feel at the moment as a Bournemouth fan is kind of, sell us, we'll go to Man U, have one of them days, be brilliant, batter them, and then we'll go, well, fuck it, we'll beat Palace, be like 1-1, it'll be annoying, and then I think we'll go, okay, well, if we back it up at Fulham, then we're 5th or something, and then they'll go and beat us.
I've got a hunch, and I can't back this up, right? Our Boxing Day record.
Is it bad?
No, I don't know. I think it's all right, especially at home.
Who did we play last year?
I can't remember Fulham.
Yeah.
We won 3-0, of course. Tavernier with that
Oh,
worldie.
God, yeah.
And Arsenal, I remember we played in once,
Cine,
it was
you mean?
1-all.
Sinistera,
Yeah.
No, you're right. We have got to.
So look,
we've played Palace at home before on Boxing Day, drew 0-0 with the work down of those.
maybe you can save a job for me on the preview and leave our Boxing Day record somewhere in the comments, and I'll use that because that'll take time to sort out. So if you could do that, that'd be
I
appreciated.
remember beating Yeovil 3-0.
That was back in the day, wasn't it?
You Kane scored, I think. Oh,
Yeah. So look, Man United this weekend. Looking forward to it. The preview is going to be out Friday or Saturday. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah, it's on the Sunday, and then we're gonna. It's all about our Christmas content, so there's going to be some content here, some content there. Stay tuned on social media because we'll send you a link, or there are a couple of things you can do that make it easier if you just watch on YouTube, right?
Yeah, click the like, click the bell, and then click the subscribe button, and then everything will be done for you. You'll be told, and you'll get all the good content. So do it.
Up the chairs, it was a draw for AFC Bournemouth, and we celebrated with a Turkish Delight. That was such a Gary Lineker ending.
That's
Up the
awful.
cherries.
That was really Gary Lineker. That was proper.